And blessings, everyone. Welcome to our virtual teaching where we are talking about everything Community Bill of Rights today. We're so excited that you were able to take a moment and join us. We're grateful to have some co-authors in the building, some practitioners of this work, and it is our anniversary, and we are here to celebrate. So without further ado, let's dig into the day because we know we don't have much time. As much as we want to be here all day and spend it with one another, we know we got some work to do, literally and figuratively. So let's get started. This is why we're here. Lifting up the significance of the importance of the Community Bill of Rights brought 16 somewhat strangers, acquaintances, allies, and friends from across the country to lift up the Community Bill of Rights as a way to find something essential that could protect what we believe is meaningful and authentic community engagement. It was about centering community. It also promotes social, economic, and environmental justice. Who wrote the Community Bill of Rights? Well, I am so glad you asked. We have some of our partners and allies in here today, but I definitely want to honor everyone that's in the space by calling out the names to celebrate the contributions that everyone made. We thank you so much also to Lorraine for being present today, because you were so intricate in bringing us all together. Thank you for your advising, and Miyoko. And let's kick it. We have Berisha Black, Margot Blair, Sonja Esteras, Brooke Evans, Malikah Garner, Jasmaine Shaphon Henry.
That's
Essie,
me.
yes, Essie May Horne, Waikisha Howe, Philip Lester Rock, Patrick McNeil, Desmond Muhammad, Jennifer Olson, yours truly, Shemekka Ebony, Victoria Washington, Patricia, affectionately known as Miss Pat Willis, and Tiffany Wilson, which we're so grateful for. If you've seen any of our social media on Instagram, we have been spotlighting and highlighting the music, the instruction, the ballad of Being Kind, written and produced and promoted by our co-author Tiffany Wilson. I'll bring up Jen to the space to lead us in our opening reflections around celebrations and shares.
Thanks, Shemekka. So you saw from the names of the co-authors, like where we're from, but we'd love to find out where everybody else is from, and to also acknowledge if there are any celebrations, concerns, or where your heart is today as you're coming to this space. I'll share that I just came from the polls because it's voting day. So that's a thing that I do every year. I live in a small town, and so there are 8,000 people in the town where I live, and it requires us to be really democratic in our voting practices, and everybody kind of knows everybody. So please let us know where you're from. Obviously, Detroit, Phoenix.
So during this time, we're going to play this video while you're just putting in chat, lift up your acknowledgements, whether it's land acknowledgements or if there's something that you want to celebrate and you want us to celebrate with you. We're going to hold this space as we listen in into some reflections that Patrick, also a co-author of the Community Bill of Rights, has to say.
Growing up, I was told that which is understood don't need to be explained. But from time to time, I would have to go back to my father and ask him about stuff that made no sense to me. On this particular day, I asked him, "Dad, why is the poor man's wisdom despised and his words not heard?" He retorted, "You can be poor and intelligent and no one will listen to you, son. However, if you are rich and dumb, people will listen to you quite easily." What happens when no one cares about what you have to say? Silence. What happens when no one believes that you might have the answer for the issues and concerns of your community? Silence. What happens when the other has decided that your lack of wealth or racial identity speaks to your lack of intellect? Silence. What happens when your circumstances require you to live beneath your dignity? Silence. You see, this is how many treat the least, the lost, the left out, and the left behind, with silence. When we were told that the ice was colder and the water wetter on the other side of the tracks, we believed it and left what we knew to seek that which we had no understanding of. But as we came, they left, and they moved further and further away, knowing we could not sustain that which we sought after without their assistance. But left they still did. Then, to add insult to injury, the government came and said we need more ways to get away. When Congress approved the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956, it authorized what was then the largest public works program in the U.S. history. Its goal was to eliminate unsafe roads, inefficient routes, and traffic jams that impede fast and safe cross-country travel. Or was it? According to the estimates from the Department of Transportation, more than 500,000 households and more than 1 million people were displaced nationwide because of the federal roadway construction. Hulking highways cut through neighborhoods, darkened and disrupted the pedestrian landscape, worsened air quality, and torpedoed property values. Communities lost churches, green spaces, family, friends, loved ones, and whole swaths of homes. They also lost small businesses that provided jobs and kept money circulating locally. Crucial middle-class footholds in areas already struggling from racist zoning policy, disinvestment, and the aforementioned white flight. The areas that were devastated the most, poor and black, who were never asked, and no one listened for their cry. That was by design. You see, policymakers and planners saw highway construction as a convenient way to raise neighborhoods considered undesirable and blighted. And they deployed the massive infrastructure elements, multi-lane road beds, concrete walls, ramps, and overpasses as tools of segregation, physical buffers to isolate communities of color. Hardly a major city with a significant minority population went unscathed. Hansford Village in Brownsville in Columbus, Ohio, Black Bottom in Paradise Valley in Detroit, in Syracuse, the 15th Ward, in New Orleans, the trim, bustling black business neighborhood, Boyle Heights in LA, and the St. John's area of my beloved Flint, Michigan, to name a few.
So I want to lift this up. I think we've gotten most of our celebrations and shares in. This link will be shared with you all so that you all can look at it at its entirety. We think it's very powerful, not because we're biased, because Patrick is a co-author, but because the message that he's given around the historical context as to why we believe that centering community is so important. And next, we're going to jump right into the beautiful. Yes.
If I could do one real quick announcement.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Malikah Garner here, one of the co-authors. Well, first of all, today is my late grandfather's birthday, Patrick Andrew Coleman Sr. Happy birthday to him. Sending him love and light on the other side. Ashe. But also, I want to shout out an amazing community advocate here in Detroit, in the Metro Detroit area, Mama Shu, who is up for, who's been nominated by CNN as one of the possible heroes of the year. She takes land in the area and transforms it. One of her well-known places is the Avalon Village. I will put the link in the chat here. And again, that is Mama Shu. If you all would not mind voting for Mama Shu to win CNN Hero of the Year, she's really important to our community. And that would mean a lot to me. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you for lifting that. That's so powerful. Definitely make sure you look at that link in the chat and definitely want to support that incredible celebration for sure. Thank you for lifting that and raising that via voice. We appreciate you for that. That is awesome. All right, let's jump in. We have this wonderful message really quick for those that have not um, checked in or tapped into what
We need to stop doing community engagement. What? You heard me right. At best, traditional community engagement tools only scratch the surface. At worst, they can unintentionally harm communities. What if we turned community engagement on its head? It's time to shift from community engagement to centering community, and here's how. Start with the people most proximate to the harms. We need to recognize that community engagement practices have often caused harm to the people. These traditional methods, such as surveys and focus groups, can be extractive and tokenizing, and at times they have even undermined existing community assets, leaving communities worse off. Now, in order to heal these harms and the relationships, system leaders need to acknowledge and repair the harms with those most impacted. This could look like learning alongside the community about how you can co-design together. Pay attention to the process of how you work together and make sure you're valuing the skill sets and lived experience that community brings to the table. We're all reckoning with this need for systemic change, and change is more likely to stick when it matters to the people. So, what matters to the people? Their well-being. Let's start here. We're all individually and collectively healthier, more resilient, more productive, more connected when we feel that we can count on others and they on us, and that things are somewhat predictable, that we're safe, that we matter and can influence our environment in the future, and that our material needs can be met without shame or danger. Centering well-being means finding out what makes the partnership worth it for the people, creating a sense of belonging, and building on existing community strengths and resources. To do this, find out what's already working in the community. These are the things that are already tapping into people's drive for well-being, and then build on them. Share power. Look at what's bringing people to the table. In traditional community engagement, it's the end product. When we center community, it's the relationship. End products will then flow from that relationship. This means that community members are equal partners and mutually benefit from the end products. They have significant influence on the co-designing, the decision-making, and problem-solving processes. This could mean that the end product or goal may change based on what matters most to the people in the partnership. Centering community is about new ways of being and doing. It's a process and a path that you may already be on. Take the next step by learning about the rights community has when engaging with government, philanthropy, and nonprofits through the Community Bill of Rights. And when you're ready to take action, evaluate what your organization is doing well and what you may be leaving on the table with our Centering Community Organizational Assessment. Both of these resources were designed in partnership with community members. You don't have to do this alone. And so join a diverse group of leaders working in both systems and communities who are exploring centering community through the well-being blueprint. Better solutions for addressing our country's most pressing issues are out there, and communities hold the key to unlocking them. This is what's possible when we create mutually beneficial relationships of equal partnership and responsibility, and centering community gets us there.
Yes, centering community gets us there. So from theory to practice, we want to lift that up today in what brings us together collectively. When we break down what our focus is, you're gonna hear from practitioners and co-authors today that have been doing this work over this last year in these areas of relational integrity, holistic identity, historical honoring, shared power, fair compensation, commitment to healing, mindful language, and meaningful investment. As you're listening to the stories and real lived experiences of those that have been in the field advocating and lifting up and raising awareness around the Community Bill of Rights, take note of which one of these things that you see resonates with what they're doing in community and how the Community Bill of Rights has been showing up. So I wanted to lift up this moment to bring in our panel today, our amazing, awesome, super wonderful panel. I wanted to do a post check. We're going to be kicking it off with Amiyoko. I wanted to check in with you in real time. Would you like us to show the video or would you like to jump in and just share directly?
Showing the video is good and I can wait to share.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, we are going to lift up what we're going to be looking at is Amiyoko gave us the wonderful opportunity to be in community with her and how the Community Bill of Rights is literally showing up in relationships and has been. So we are going to hear from Amiyoko at this time.
Hi, I am Amiyoko Shabazz, and I am your community champion, lived experience consultant. And I'm so excited about sharing these moments with you about my life and how the Community Bill of Rights has been wonderful and practiced in my life for over 25 years. I would like to introduce Linda Miles. Introduce yourself.
Hello, and thank you so much, Amiyoko. It's an honor to be able to sit here. I call her to this day my baby. And I often say to her, I want to thank your mother, Princess, for having my baby and sharing our baby. And as a result, I met her, like she said, 25 plus years ago. And she walked into my classroom, and I'm thinking she was the teacher that I was going to have to share my classroom with. And indeed, she was a student. And she was expecting her second child. And when she came in, she says, "Hi, are you Miss Miles?" And I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "Miss Callahan, who was the principal at the time and the founder of the alternative high school," she said, "Miss Callahan told me to come and see you. I need a job." And it excited me because here she stood. I said, first of all, she walked in with all this grace about herself. And that's why I thought for sure this was the teacher I was going to share my classroom with. And then when she said she was a student and she needed a job, I said, look at this young lady with all of this energy. And I didn't know how much energy she had until we evolved as the teacher and the student. And there was a saying that the professor at Cal Poly said to all of us at the time that we were getting our teaching credentials. She says, "Don't be surprised if only one student benefits." And I'm like, not with all this homework we're doing. But I realized what she meant was there's going to always be a student and a number of them that will get it, because this young lady had that light in her. And that's what I saw. And truth be told, I came from a large family, 14 brothers and sisters. And I was excited because I could hear and see and feel the determination in her. And so she became my baby.
I became her baby. So when we talk about the Community Bill of Rights, right? We have some things in here we need to talk about, right? Commitment to healing. In the Community Bill of Rights, we have a commitment to healing. Linda Miles have been committed to my healing over 25 plus years. Her being my high school teacher and staying in my life for over 25 years,
we'll yield that. We'll be sending out all these videos. I saw that come up in the link. But when we think about commitment to healing, that's what a 25-year commitment looks like. It looks like joy. It looks like care. It looks like wellness. It looks like relationship. And, we don't know how long we have an opportunity to impact people's lives, but taking that moment to be intentional and how we relate to one another is so significant to our own well-being journey. And so when we think about that, we wanted to transition into lifting up the work of Malikah Garner, who's also one of the co-authors, as to how has the Community Bill of Rights been showing up in your work, and what would you like to share with us today that you've been doing or have coming up?
Thank you so much, Shemekka. Hi, everybody. I wish I had a beautiful video like I'm Yoko. But I will go ahead and share a little bit about my journey with the Community Bill of Rights. So I'm in Detroit, Michigan. I see Gary, you're my neighbor, so we got to figure that out. Detroit is in the building. I am a maternal child health advocate in the city of Detroit. I started my advocacy because I was impacted negatively through my pregnancy and birthing process. And so I wanted to do something about that. And I've been a part of this work for about 8 years now. I always remember because it was after the birth of my second son, who's about to be 8. And I primarily do a lot of that work through Black Mothers Breastfeeding Association. And through that work, it led me to being connected to this amazing group of co-authors and creating this Community Bill of Rights. And I just want to say the process of creating this amazing tool was transformative, in addition to creating the Community Bill of Rights, right? Like having this dynamic group of folks together, it was definitely an experience that I hold near and dear to my heart. And again, a shout out to Lorraine. Thank you for leading us through that process. So effortlessly and just with so much grace and love. It was definitely seen and felt. But after we created the Community Bill of Rights, everyone was mobilized and re-energized about how we can put this into practice. And this year, I was a part of an opportunity to put the Community Bill of Rights in practice. And so it's really exciting because I want to say, where are we in November? This was in September. I joined the team at FFI to begin to put this into practice. And so I'm not a team member, but I joined them to give input and create a center and community training that could be used in an actual community. So we created, myself, I want to also shout out Berisha Black, who's on the line. Berisha, there she is, right on time. Feel free to jump in, Berisha, if there's something you want to add. But Berisha and myself, we joined the team and helped to create not only a centering community training, which the Community Bill of Rights is a huge piece of that, but we also facilitated the training. And so it was just an amazing experience to see the Community Bill of Rights in action. So we went into Cleveland, Ohio, and collaborated with the government to find a better way to collaborate with community members around infrastructure projects that they were planning. And so as Berisha and I are talking with the community members about the Community Bill of Rights and how this looks in this partnership, a couple things that stood out to me was like, mindful language was really important in that project, right? How we describe things and the way we describe them with clarity so that the folks that need the support and that need the acknowledgement receive it and it doesn't go over their head or that it's not misrepresentative of that population. Meaningful investment as well. It's not just about, oh, you want to build this new thing. It's about making it meaningful, and how you go about that matters a lot to community members. And their feedback was just amazing feedback from the group. They really came alive with the Community Bill of Rights section of that training. And that was really affirming for myself and Berisha. It was like an amazing full circle moment to see folks energized about this project that we helped to co-create. Berisha, is there anything you want to add?
You said it. It was a very powerful moment to really see all the work that we've all done, just kind of see how community just receives it and comes alive, and it speaks their language automatically. So it was really great to be a part of that.
Awesome. And so as far as what's next, we hope that that can serve as an early example of how we can get into the community and integrate the Community Bill of Rights around different projects, around government partnerships, and sort of transform those relationships in a way that is centering the community, right? And that honors wellness. And so I think all of us co-authors are, we're just excited about the next step of this, and this is just the beginning. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Malikah, for lifting that incredible work, and so happy to hear about what's possible and this opportunity. And it also sounds like you may potentially be available for some consultations for those that may want to bring that to their community. So we'll slide that plug in there as well. Thank you for lifting that. I certainly appreciate it. So I wanted us to give a moment to check in. We're going to go around now to see how things are going. Let's see, who do we have next? Ooh, I know that. Yes, Patrick, who may be hiding behind the scenes right now. We're calling you front and center. Tell us what you've been doing in Flint, Michigan, and some incredible things that obviously you have mobilizing statewide too. So I will yield the floor to you for you to lift up what's going on.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And it is always good to be in the presence of greatness. And I know sometimes people hear me say that and they wonder, where does that come from, Patrick? Well, it comes from the idea that many times we don't recognize what we can bring to the table when we're given the space at the table. And having the opportunity to be at the table with you all has been a joy and a privilege, and I accept it just as such. So what have I been doing? Just depends on what day of the week it is. But what I'm going to talk about today is that there are a couple of things that we've been doing to really wrap my community around this idea of centering community, making sure that we're recognized and that we understand the value of the Community Bill of Rights, but also doing this from the local and state level. So we've been doing some work around community, just trying to find out, what does community want to see done? And how do they want to participate in the process? In a place like Flint, sometimes you have what they call fatigue from being poked and prodded and questionnaires and surveys and focus groups and all those things, and you just simply get tired of them. And residents are getting tired of those things. However, what they're not tired of is being a part of the solution. And I want to make sure I say that clear. We're tired of being asked what's wrong. We're not being tired of trying to figure out what is in our best interest and what makes us better at doing it. So we've been doing this work. We have a term that we've coined called community-informed participatory engagement that really takes at the heart some of the concepts that comes from centering community, that comes from the concept of the Community Bill of Rights. And what it really says is this: the work doesn't end until one thing has happened and that the conditions have improved, right? So a lot of times we think that the work is done when we finish the project, but the work isn't done until the conditions have improved and the residents get to decide what that looked like. So we're working through it, we're processing through it, and we just completed a massive 3-year study that we just finished our final report. It's been received well in our community, and we'll see what happens. So that's on the local level. At the state level, every now and then somebody believes that I need to be on somebody else's committee. I'm here to let you know, I'll be telling people to leave me alone. I don't want to be on no committee because people really don't want you to speak your authentic truth, right? Mm-hmm. And so in the state of Michigan, our Michigan Department of Health and Human Services was trying to put together what they call a community information system. I'm going to tell y'all what a CIE is. It is a localized effort to create and sustain the technology and relationships required to collect and act upon the social determinants of health needs, both of individuals and community. Y'all forgive me. It's leveraging data to help people have a better answer, right? And so what we're doing is so they put me a part of this team with these smart people who talk a language that I don't know. Anything that has to do with coding is above my pay grade. I'm a glorified end user. And we began to have these great conversations around the idea of how do you create a system that ensures that a person's needs are taken into account. And so we began to go after this work, but I wouldn't let them off the hook for one thing. Residents have to be in control of their data. If I don't want you to use it, you can't use it. If I want to step out of this, I can step out of this. If I want to step into this, I can step into this. Because at the end of the day, a person who's already in some type of disparity is already under the brick right now. And we're trying to make it even worse by forcing them to go to organizations and to participate in processes that may not have their best interests at heart. And so during this work, we began to do it. And then finally, there was a decision made outside of Patrick that said we need to have something that allows residents to decide what roles and what rules will we follow and come by, y'all. So you know me, I just sat there and I played coy. I didn't say a word. And the next thing I know, I get a phone call from one of the lead people. They was like, hey, Patrick, can you talk? Sure. Hey, look, we were trying to find something on this idea of these Bill of Rights, these ideas that's laying out what community needs to be honored and how we need to work with them. And we ran across a document called the Community Bill of Rights. And we just want to know one thing. Are you that Patrick McNeil from Flint, Michigan that helped put those Community Bill of Rights together? And I was like, I think so. And it depends on what you think about it. And then they was just like amazed. They like, hold on, you've been doing this and you didn't bring it up. And I said, no, it wasn't that I didn't bring it up. We hadn't gotten to the part yet. So you got ahead of me. And so long story short, a lot of what we put in as it pertains to the Community Bill of Rights ended up in the Bill of Rights for the residents as they go through this CIE process. This process is going to require millions of dollars and a ton more work. But the one thing we can say for sure is that your work went into that process. This idea that we have to take heart and stock of the community and their needs, desire, wishes, and wants was key to what this happening. And I just want to let y'all know that it brought me no more joy that they called my name, but every time I hear Community Bill of Rights, and I have to say it all, y'all, right? I have to say it because when I say it, I remember all those days and hours and times that we put in to arrive at that space. And so this wasn't about Patrick's work being lifted up. This was about y'all work being lifted up. I told y'all was great. And now people are finding out about it. And that's just one step into some other things that we're doing locally on trying to institute this as a way of thought.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this feels good, everybody. Thank you, Patrick, for the work that you're doing and your humble way of leading from the back to getting to the expected end that we need. And that's to have systems level transformation. And it began with an idea, a seed planted. And obviously, look, according to you, without your assistance, it manifested this incredible idea to connect you as a co-author to the work with the government level. And you all will get that link too, so that you can see that Michigan is repping and lifting up this work. So thank you for having the seat at the table and taking the door off the hinges and creating that space so that other people could get in to be able to hear themselves and see themselves in the work. We have this beautiful soul, Deshanae Cantley, that'll be lifting up. She has been a champion for change, a community member with lived experience, expertise, facing inequities that was like, oh, the Community Bill of Rights, where do I go? What do I need to do? Let's go. And she has been running ever since. So without further ado, let's lift up Ms. Deshanae Cantley.
I love that. Thank you, Shemekka. You make me sound so wonderful. But not only that, I want to thank the co-authors, Full Frame, and the other Community Bill of Rights leaders. Like Shemekka said, since being introduced to the Community Bill of Rights, I recognize immediately that what it means, what it stands for, was exactly the tool needed to help bridge the gap between what truly matters to community and community systems injustices that they endure while navigating institutions and services. Why? Because I'm a lived experience expertise. I work with community in all shapes and forms. Through all my experiences as being a home health care provider, different things that I just did in my life, working with the people, being an organizer, being a starting a tennis association, getting in contact with Community Land Trust, becoming a part of Community Land Trust as a practice of different pathways for creating prevention to homelessness and trying to dive in deep into that prevention to homelessness. But one of the things that I really want to say is in my vision of centering community, right? As a community member and lived experience person, sometimes my voice wasn't being heard and I had to push through certain kind of things that helped me get better, stronger. And I'm so glad that I have other leaders out here that's like supporting the vision so I can get strength and inspiration from them. I'm definitely glad for that. And I do feel a sense of dignity and well-being because I definitely took a deep dive in the commitment to healing. And I love that, the commitment to healing. And I just like to talk about that a little bit more in my own personal journey as going through my commitment to healing. I get to recognize who I am. I am Goddess Triple Beauty. I am a planetary ambassador of the leader for the Community Bill of Rights. I am a bridger of the issues and the solutions. The divine in me sees the divine in you. I'm a person who cares about people, places, and things. What we do to the land, we do to the people. What we do to the people, we do to the land. If patience is a virtue, then virtue must feel like royalty. And that's the pledge I declared as I embraced the commitment of healing journey, listed as one of the pillars of the Community Bill of Rights that all people have the right to. Through this journey, I found mastery of self, adapted my own holistic identity, my historical honoring, and established relational integrity with practices that exhibit mindful language and meaningful investment. My name is Deshanae Cantley, and I'm one of your Community Bill of Rights leaders. I'm coming out with a book. I'm starting my own organization, so I'm ready to do consultation. If anybody needs to hear or would like to work with me, I'm ready. I'm ready and excitement. I got a lot of things going on, still doing some ground work, working with different organizations and healing gardens, community gardens to start gathering people around and doing some service. I got those things to come out, looking forward to. And in December, I'll be a part of one of those Toys for Tots with other agencies that'll be giving out some healing things and giving out toys and food and clothes. And I'm so glad of the work that I've been doing with this commitment to healing and the Community Bill of Rights, because now I'm not only just a lived experience expertise, but now I'm becoming a business owner, self-advocating for my own self. And I'm just got my heels to the ground and I'm ready. I'm excited and I'm so glad that you guys brought this. This is help boost all of my fears, because I definitely use this as my sword, my shield, my helmet, my the community bill of rights is like every tool that's needed, a pen, everything. And so with that being said, I don't want to take up too much time, but I want to lift everybody up and support and love and help continue being an asset for all of the people to acknowledge what the Community Bill of Rights is, what it could do for them, and how they can also lift their voices and be heard. Thank you.
Woo, do you want to hear that? Fire? Yes, we love it. We are fired up about systems level transformation, but it all begins here. So I loved how she lifted up the work that she did on herself and how this is being real as she's manifesting. I want to jump into our partner, our ally, a friend I've known for several years now, and grateful to be a co-author and work alongside with you in community. Jennifer, how has the Community Bill of Rights been showing up for you?
First, I'm going to find that unmute button, which is the constant of my life. I'm challenged by technology. Hi, I'm Jennifer Olson. I'm president and CEO of Local First Group. It's a company that I founded in order to serve my purpose of fostering healthy local economies and healthy food. So I'm here as a co-author of the Community Bill of Rights in response to my love and longing for a more just and joyful world. I'm coming to you from rural Maine, where these days I'm also dreaming of a world beyond firearms. And the process, I want to get into my story just for a minute. The process of co-authorship of this document, it really brought home to me the part of my own story that I had hidden or dismissed. I was a poor, smart kid who grew up to be a single mom in the welfare system. And later on, I lived in a community where the single economic driver, the paper mill, shut down. And that got me thinking about the resiliency of communities. And I became executive director of a couple of nonprofits in Maine, grassroots organizations that were relying heavily on volunteers and city and grant funding to keep the good work going. And in my role, I began to really look at the dance of like survival and grind culture that in addition to working our mission, I was required to perform. And this expectation that we have of perpetual harvest, it's never enough and we're never finished, that we don't get a chance to inhale. And I'm grappling with this like macro and micro, what makes a healthy community while my own health was suffering. So it seems to me like the root cause of well-being begins with access to good food and healthy local economies, some opportunities for physical movement and really embodiment, preferably safely in nature, and meaningful relationships in our shared spaces. And so that third one is what I'm here talking about today, this meaningful relationship in our shared spaces. And it's funny how it's all related, like what we experience personally and what we observe at the system level. So for the past 7 years, I've been caregiver for my parents in my home, navigating the COVID shutdowns, responding to patriarchal misogyny and racism at all levels, and relatively in isolation, feeling kind of helpless about it all, but knowing that this topic of equity was calling. And I did some self-study because I love to learn through reading. For me, it's a really safe place to explore ideas. And so that I took my favorite books and offered a monthly reading group to social media. I called it 13 Moons of Women's Wisdom. And I can link the list in the chat if you're interested in exploring any of that, if you like to read too. But if you don't have time, I do want to say Winona LaDuke, Adrienne Marie Brown, and Robin Wall Kimmerer. Oh, and also Leah Penniman, some people to pay attention to. And I say all this because that's where I was when I got the invitation from Shemekka to participate in the formulation of the Community Bill of Rights. Taking part allowed me to see that the frustration I was feeling trying to change systems in my community was shared by all these other communities across the country and across all these topic areas. And that these universal themes that we came up with for the world that we imagine, are really powerful. And so since that time, I've been able to share this set of ideals with the Healthy Northern Kennebec Community Coalition, the Waterville Area Food Council, the Maine Community Foundation, leaders from Waterville Creates, which is our local arts organization, Rotary Club International, their district governor, and even members of an intentional community in Costa Rica, of all places. And so here's the 16 of us wondering about our respective systems, calling for justice, and reaching consensus about what's important to us as community members. Target populations, areas of funding focus. Well, here it is. You know, like if you really want to co-design for well-being beyond the public comment, this document is for you. And so, and I offer that we can teach you too. Like if you're interested for your community, any one of us is available to respond to this call to action. Thank you.
Wow, I love it. I love it. I'm appreciative of everything that you all have shared. As we look at lifting up these ways of being, these examples of what's possible. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Shemekka Ebony. I am here rising out of North Carolina, illuminating the Community Bill of Rights nationally and globally in the work that I do around leadership development, and looking at how we do with centering community and community engagement. I took what I was able to glean from the Community Bill of Rights and amplify this in several varying silos. Health equity community, it was introduced to a Rise to Health Coalition, which is a national coalition that kind of changed the way that we look at healthcare systems and how people with lived experience expertise is engaged. We were able to lift this with everyday community leaders like us to lift up what's possible. And so what I've been doing is creating ways that organizations and institutions can integrate the Community Bill of Rights in their work. This will be exampled again. We'll be having a Community Bill of Rights action team, a 9-month commitment for a cohort starting in February to be able to do a deeper dive over 9 months on from theory to practice, how the Community Bill of Rights can become a tangible opportunity within your organization to be a toolkit to transform policy that exists or integrate new forms of policy to address things like health equity, commitment to healing, pay equity, and transparency in repairing the harm. So I wanted to, with the rest of our time together, open up the floor to everyone, get into gallery view. And if there's a question that you have, if there's a reflection that you have from this experience today, again, this is a snapshot of what the 6 of us have been doing. And this is only because an hour would allot for us to squeeze together at least 6 of us. But there are some other people that are doing some incredible things. And I want to create an opportunity to continue these practitioner convenings so that we can hear what's possible, try this stuff out in our community, and create the change that we want to see. So I'll open up the floor now. If there's questions, comments, reflections, aha moments, or what are you motivated by thinking about what you heard today to create this opportunity for change within your community and your work? I'll yield the floor. I see Amioko has her hand raised.
Shalom, everyone. Yes, I'm excited. I just want to give honor, divine honor to everyone who's been on this project for giving me something to have a fire about, to blaze, and to be a champion. I just want to lift up, in the last year, what I've been the Community Bill of Rights planetary ambassador, and I've been equalizing things. All the harms that have been happening to me, I've been using my helmet, I've been using my sword, I've been using my breastplate and virtue and grace and love, and I go after them. Because what I do is I'm attacking these low frequencies and giving them a solution with the Community Bill of Rights to raise the frequency. And I love giving the community back their power, giving the people back their power. So my latest thing that I just done, I was at Michigan in Tavris, Michigan, and I was at the national conference of the Housing Authority, and I was the keynote speaker. And I spoke to them on a federal level with all the grace and love. I told them, I'm not here to discipline you, but I am here to teach you. And I introduced the Community Bill of Rights to all of those people. And I introduced an opportunity for them to be able to work with us and interconnect with us while we raise this frequency and we change things. Because if we can change ourselves, then we can change the world. And so I have made the commitment. as a planetary ambassador champion of the Community Bill of Rights, to embody the Community Bill of Rights, to be the Community Bill of Rights. And when I did that video, I realized I've been the Community Bill of Rights all along, pal. And so I look forward to this journey with you. I see endless possibilities. I see unlimited resources for all of us. And I see change. I yield.
Yes, I love it. I want to, before we wrap today, to honor our other fellow co-authors that are on the line. If there's anything that you want to lift up or share, I want to yield some time. I see Waukesha's here. I see Berisha's here. I see Brooke. Come on, y'all. I'm not going to force you to say anything, but I want to make sure that you're honored while you're here. Is there anything that you would like to lift up, Jasmine, any of you?
I just want to say that it is an honor to continuously be in this space with my family, this family that has grown and developed, where we have come together to make significant changes that will drastically impact our community and our future and our families to come. I want to give double snaps where we discuss and talk about how change comes from us. If we don't recognize where our shortcomings and our bias come from, we have no business being on the front lines telling anyone else the same thing. And I just want to honor everyone that has joined us, that has supported all of the co-authors and all the work that we've done. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this space. Thank you for being a part of this space with us, because change happens from tables like these. And I love eating. So thank you all.
Yes, thank you, Jasmine. Anyone
And
else like to? Yes.
Go, Waukesha. I was just gonna say thank you to Shemekka before we left for creating this space. Go, Waukesha.
Yes, I just wanted, I'm a little under the weather, so that's why I'm quiet. But I just wanted to say thank you for holding space, and thank you for this family that we created, because this is a family here. I appreciate all the good work you guys are doing and what everyone is doing throughout this country. And I just want to say, if you need me, honey, I'm here.
Yes, I love it. Thank you, Waukesha. I appreciate you so much. I see a hand raised. Is that Lanisha? Lanisha, how do you pronounce that beautiful name?
Anisha, you said it good.
Yay! The floor is yours.
I actually am not like, I'm a natural healer. I'm a shaman. So what do I do with this?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
You utilize this in your ways of
healing energy. Yes, Shemekka. You utilize that healing energy and bring them into spaces like these, because healing is unspoken. You don't have to make noise in order to solve a problem. And having those powers and those gifts are the unseen. How do I want to say? They're the gasoline to our fire, because without them, we don't have that energy that's necessary for the change to happen. So thank you.
So I guess basically I'm asking, do I take the bill? So like if I'm doing something, how can I affect change in the community? I don't associate with community people, politicians, or anything like that. And I'm mostly like pretty much a hermit, low key. So what are my steps as an individual to help expose others to this? Go hand out flyers? I mean, what is there a process? Is there a step or
yes,
or
look, yes, here.
Okay. Is there a point person to refer people to? What do I do? Because I'm loving everything I'm hearing. That just feels like a lot of pressure if I was going to try to take that on. So I'm wondering, like, who can I point to, or how's it work?
Miss Shemekka, I got this. So we in your community. We part of your circle. Come talk to us about it. And then we can help you navigate it. We can help you embody it, see where you fit in the most. That's which pillar. That's what I did. I looked at which pillar I recognized the most. And then I found myself in ways to connect to the rest of them. I haven't got to that shared power yet. I can't wait. But when I get to the place where I'm telling the organizations like how to share the power and do the assessment and all of this kind of stuff, even taking it to the point where we build it into practice and put it in policy. I cannot wait. So just being curious and sharing the information, you never know how it's going to affect. You could bring it into your circles, and we're your friends. We could connect with you. We can help you with that.
Okay, because you leave it to me. I'll be like, where's the president? Going to the DPSS office, talking about where the president, y'all look here, putting this in their hands. I'm not trying to hear that. Just, you can't, look here, woman secretary, you cannot affect change. You will waste my time, and you ain't getting paid to take this on. So give me the president. But see, I'm trying to be, not take on too much.
That sounds like an equalizer, because that's the kind of stuff that I do.
Okay.
Right? We need some big dogs to go against the big dogs. Right?
Exactly.
It's equalizing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. And it's also a shared agreement. So as you are, as a practitioner of healing, this could be any component of the Community Bill of Rights can be a shared agreement as to how you all relate to one another. I use it as a recentering tool. So these are the agreements. This is how we are agreeing to work. And if one of us get off somewhere, then we have something we can go back to reference and to realign and recalibrate. So it could be a shared agreement that you have with individuals you do business with, individuals that are long-term relationship with you, maybe as clients or partners. These are some shared agreements that can guide your work and kind of recenter and reground you all as you're navigating.
I had already planned to use it, but I didn't know if there was like some criteria or something like that, because somebody asked me to do healing circles in a project. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to some place that I'm going to need their input on what they want from this. So I thought that the Bill of Rights would be a good thing to use in that. So, like, thank you for clearing that up. It's not like a closed document that you guys are just, it's open for everybody.
It's an accessible tool, yes. Well, I would say this. Okay. It's open for those with lived experience, expertise when it comes to adapting it to your community. We ask that organizations and institutions do not amend this document in any way, but community members that they are working with can amend it to specific needs of their community. So if there's some things that you want to add that we didn't say enough of, or things that you want to add to, you as a community member, you as a person with lived experience, expertise, bringing this into an agreement, there may be some things that you want to prioritize adding. But it sounded like Jasmaine is saying, sis, come find me, I got you. So I want to reiterate that. And before we wrap, I just want to honor Tiffany's hand being raised. And this will be our last comment for today, or question or reflection.
Thank you. I'm just really thinking about Lanisha's question, and I had some thoughts. I just wanted to share them with you. I think just what you do for your work, you have access to community members. And I think maybe people may share things with you, right? And it's a way to empower someone. And I think even with the work you're about to do with the projects, I saw a note in here from Arioko, and like even beginning with something like that, having it printed out. And so you may be there for another purpose, but you're leaving them with something to empower them. And so I was thinking about this, just telling you where I'm coming from. I was thinking about this scripture that talks about how, like somebody plants, somebody waters, and it's God that makes it grow. And so you may not have a full-blown meeting like this on the Community Bill of Rights. You may not be leading a charge or something like that, but just for someone to have it, because they're building rapport with you, or they trust you, or you're the trainer or the leader in some sort of way, and you're imparting this. This is an empowerment that you're imparting to them, because people are discriminated against and looked over in all kind of ways in so many places and spaces all over the place, that if they just have that can just strengthen and empower somebody to speak up in a situation they wouldn't normally speak up in, just period, So I think you're in a position to have a different approach than maybe the rest of us. Or we can all do it like that too, but I think you're in a position where the recipient will be receptive, even if you're just disseminating the information and encouraging people to look at it.
Thank you, Tiffany, for lifting that. This has been a powerful impartation today. I see, Zach, I see you're unmuted. Is that on purpose? Would you like to share before we wrap? I want to honor if this is your way to let us know. Okay. Well, we'll yield back. Oh, I gotcha. Thank you all so much for your commitment to healing, your commitment to inquiry, to be here today. Thank you to all the co-authors that took some time to be here in community. Thank you to the curious. If you're reading the chat, if you are looking at the replay, don't keep this good news to yourself. You heard it firsthand, how transformational this information, this work, this commitment, this journey can be. If you're interested in learning more or need some guidance and direction, you'll see also on the website CommunityChampion.Club, many of the co-authors and ambassadors and practitioners are also speakers that are posted on the website. Reach out to any of them directly. You'll also see on CommunityChampion.Club, we have some leadership sessions coming up that'll be utilizing Community Bill of Rights as a shared agreement. And we also have an action team that will be forming for 9 months starting in February. So if you are part of an organization, you are an individual practitioner wanting to know how to do a deeper dive, over 9 months, you drop in all 9 months, or you just come 1 month, whatever time and commitment and your values align to show up. We're going to be doing from theory to practice, breaking down these Community Bill of Rights and looking at tools that are complementary to help you all as practitioners in the community, especially when there's barriers to language and barriers to access. This is a way to kind of, from theory to practice, make it a practical opportunity. This session will be recorded. If you registered, you will get a link so that you will have a copy of this. It'll also be on the Community Bill of Rights YouTube playlist. You'll also get that link. And there's plenty of other videos that are on that playlist that can help you inform and give you tips on how to introduce it. It'll help with those weird, uncomfortable first conversations around it, and a way to use witty ideas to get to the expected end. So thank you all so much for your time. I will also save the chat and be sharing that with those that registered as well. Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you for joining us.